Welcome to Stuck, Time to Improv. I'm Mary Scott with Business Riff, and I want startup businesses to be wildly successful. Today, we're going to be talking about tech, particularly if you don't like tech. We're going to talk about how to handle it, how to use it, why it's so important. And our special guest is Avital Spivak from Vital Weave. Thanks for coming, Avital.
Hi, Mary. It's good to be here. Thank you.
So let's talk about people who are tech averse.
That can take anything from just thinking I'm bad with tech, I can't do things. It can be people who just the day-to-day things that you need to do, like emails and calendar and all sorts of things like that. They kind of dread that part of the day.
And obviously the tech startups aren't particularly tech averse, but if you've got a new business that's brick and mortar, if you want to sell a product and you're actually putting a business together, it's hard to avoid, right?
Absolutely. These days, you really need some social media or even just sending files and contracts. And there's so much that happens online, including your banking and billing, and everything goes with some online tool involved somewhere. And I am a software engineer who worked in startups for many, many years. But working in startup, that means that pretty much every day, every year, every month, I come up on new software and new to me things that I don't know how to use and that are scary. So that experience of bumping into this, am I going to be able to do that one, is very familiar to me. And one of the things I want to say to people is you're not supposed to be able to do this by yourself.
Okay, so what are your suggestions for startup businesses who aren't so fond of tech?
First of all, it is inevitable these days. It's not something you can really ignore and everything will be fine. You need to handle it in some way, and better sooner than later, because the sooner you get over it or find a way to really make peace with it, you'd be better off.
Do you have tricks for getting comfortable with tech?
I do have some tricks for getting comfortable with tech. You probably need less tech than you think you do. You can simplify. There's a lot you don't need, even though everybody else might be telling you you do need it. Like if you don't do this, your business will not grow. If you don't do that, if you don't use a lot of that might fit the other person, but maybe not for you and your business. It's not about I have to jump in and then deal with it. No, there's a lot you can do before and really be strategic about what you decide that you're going to use and how you're going to go about it.
Okay, so what are some of the essential pieces of tech for back office housekeeping, running a business stuff?
There's your marketing. There's your delivery, if it involves any tech tools. There's the back office, so to speak, the administration tools. Oh yes, connecting with people, the networking, your connections. That's, for me, that's the first one. That's number one.
Right, because if you don't get your brand out there, nobody's going to know about your product or service. And if they don't know about it, they can't buy it. So this is very logical.
Yes. And the ability to follow up with people after any kind of networking, when you meet new people, all of this has elements of online in it. Okay. But at the same time, you can be as simple about it as you need to be.
Okay, so what's a simple tool to use to help handle the networking?
So, for example, when we look at networking, you can go from putting it on pieces of paper. That's the old way of doing it, like a Rolodex, right? That's old technology. Nothing wrong with it. You can actually use that and use that well. Then you can go into maybe something like a document where you put everything and The benefit, it's very similar to putting it on paper, but now you can search for names and search for things. You can go up to an Excel spreadsheet and sort things out, but you can also go all the way to a CRM, which is a client relationship management or customer relationship management. There's different acronyms there. But that's a piece of software that helps you keep your contacts, keep your meetings, see where everybody's at. So whichever you're comfortable with, or whichever you're willing to invest a little bit in learning and using.
There's some beginner software for CRMs that don't have quite so many bells and whistles. So it's pretty user-friendly and easy to get going on if you want to use a CRM, but an Excel spreadsheet is also pretty searchable.
And which beginner CRM are you referring to? You have
A
one?
less annoying CRM.
I was going to say, that's the one I was going to say.
And it's not just the software there that's friendly, it's the people who back it up. You can get one of those folks on the phone talking you through something probably within an hour.
Really, when you're not great with technology, using something where you can get somebody on the line to help you is one of the number one tips.
Right. Okay, so what's the next piece of technology that's pretty unavoidable?
You know, email. We almost don't think of it. But when you use email, most of us would be using email already.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not a little bit savvy about it, people drown. I have a client who lost quite a bit of money on not being able to handle her emails in a good way. And a little bit of learning can really change your experience of email. And also, if you're using an older type email that maybe doesn't have some of the newer abilities, you might want to consider changing to a different type of email, like a Gmail or some other options that would make life easier for you after the transition.
Sure. And some of it is just getting in the habit of every morning going in and going through once fast to delete all the stuff you don't want to deal with.
Yes. So with email, the next piece is the calendar. And many people still use a paper calendar, but there are many benefits to using an online calendar.
Right.
And especially an online calendar that works hand in hand with your email software.
Right.
Some things are well designed and almost friendly, but you're not supposed to do this by yourself. This is like when you learn to cross the street. There's a lot of moving pieces and there's a lot of things happening that you don't even know what to look out for. And somebody guides you, hey, this is the pavement, this is the street. It's not always self-evident if, it's not paved or something.
And for startups particularly, knowing that there's something new and you need help with it and you reach out to get the help with it, that's excellent practice for being able to hire people, to be able to get people into your company with skill sets that you don't have. So that technique of being able to delegate starts with asking for help here. And sometimes touching base with customer support before you actually buy software is a good way to figure out if this is going to work for you. This has been really interesting, Avital. Thank you so much for joining us here on Stuck, Time to Improv. For more information, check out the comments, and there'll be a way to contact Avital because she's a wealth of additional information and a super person to call for help when you need it. This is Mary Scott with Business Riff. We want startups to be wildly successful, and join us again for Stuck, Time to Improv.